Taught by a teacher. Foreword and Prologue. Dedicated to Grandma Maybelle. While you are not the grandmother in this story, you are the inspiration for my love of reading and writing, and that inspired my love of learning and teaching. One caring adult in a child's life can be instrumental in helping them overcome adverse childhood events. Thank you for being my caring adult. Also, there are thousands of small school districts with educators that experience a culture similar to the one in this journal. For those of you in these districts, I see you, I hear you, and what you are doing does matter. This is for you. May you be seen and heard, and may you be acknowledged for what you do. Foreword. The teacher in this story is an amalgamation of many educators that I have been and met over my years in education, and her story, while written in a memoir style, is completely fictitious. Having said that, I think it could be biographical for many educators. Many of us are stressed and feel the pull between a greater calling and our families most of the time. In fact, we feel it so strongly and collectively that it has become a lifestyle. We also feel the pull to do it all and be everything with limited resources and know-how. This is not newsworthy information and has been ongoing for a long time, until recently. Educators and burnout are becoming newsworthy, and the coverage the field is getting frequently gets the narrative wrong. There is something larger going on right now that can't continue to be ignored. The education system is collapsing under the unrealistic expectations that somehow it can right all societal wrongs. And it goes way beyond teachers being stressed. Sadly, it took a worldwide pandemic to open our eyes to this and display every crack in an overburdened, outdated, broken system. These fractures make themselves known when so many incredible educators are choosing to walk away from education as a career. To be clear, many educators are being paid more now than at any other point in history, and they are still leaving. I think it's fair to say that this issue is not just about teacher pay. It would be easy to assign blame or try to find root causes. I take that back. It would not be easy. It would give a false sense of doing when we should be reflecting and having authentic conversations. And I believe that every school district, school, and classroom is a microcosm for the greater society feeding into it. We cannot change education until everyone is willing to be accountable, because education houses all of our values and forces them to coexist. Perhaps it is time to stop looking for root causes and places to lay blame in the education system or anywhere else. Perhaps it is time to listen to our teachers again, and that listening should be over a lengthy period of time. Trust and value are two areas that take time to build, or in this case, rebuild. Teaching is a craft, and educators have to spend a lot of money and time in higher education and training to do this job. This is not limited to teachers. Paraeducators, school psychologists, speech therapists, administrators, and the list goes on and on, all are frantically trying to make this system work, and it isn't. In addition, the majority of educators spend more time with the children of this country than their own families. And I mean that both ways. Educators are sacrificing their own families for the public. And the public is giving us their children approximately 7 hours a day, 180 days a year. We are not counselors, doctors, neuroscientists, parenting experts, or parenting replacements, or parent replacements. All-knowing geniuses, warriors, or any of the other expected roles that are thrust upon us. We are trained in areas that facilitate students to be educated, and we cannot force students to learn if they or their families are averse to that process. Educators cannot fix neglect, poverty, learning disabilities, rampant equity issues, or any of the other plights that are guiding society at large. But if we removed some of the political rhetoric and allowed the classroom to focus on learning, we could give most students the tools they need to begin fixing some of these greater issues in society as they enter it. Teachers can't save the world, but they can be a fabulous resource in creating world changers. Respectfully, a teacher. Prologue. May 25th, 2016. The apartment is too quiet, and I'm not sure I can get my head into the necessary space to do this task given to me. English and writing are my love, but I have never been a journaler. And when I explained this to my exasperated therapist, he told me that I did not have to be a journaler to start a journal. And I need to start a journal to save my marriage. The therapist didn't really say that I had to journal to save my marriage. And even Paulo protested that our marriage was strong and I was being dramatic. But if I'm not saving my marriage, then why am I being forced into therapy? Furthermore, forced into journaling. My therapist says I need an outlet for my stress. It sounds so bougie to say my therapist. He's not really mine. Well, he is, but I don't want him. I mean, he's a fine therapist, I guess, but I don't have the time or patience to waste on attempting to make a 60-year-old hipster granddad named Stephen understand the complexities of me. His expensive office furniture and perfect photo shoot family pictures casually decorating his office tell me all I need to know about Stephen. He's one of those people that likes to make people talk and then give them strategies to better handle their issues. Yet, I would be surprised if Stephen ever had an actual issue himself that he needed a strategy for. Well, it would seem that if one can go off the photos hanging around the room, Stephen and his beautiful blonde family struggle to choose which to take more pictures of, their sailing adventures or skiing adventures. Since they also seem to have these adventures from locations around the world, they could also have angst over choosing the next holiday location. But one should not assume, and I don't like to judge. This has nothing to do with journaling, but I think I'm funny, and I just said I don't like to judge, and clearly I'm judging Stephen. I would love to write something real and see if anyone thinks I'm as funny as I think I am. Anyway, back to Stephen. After 2 combative sessions, Stephen and I have decided that my best course of action is to journal since I don't want to talk to others about my stress. This isn't true. I do want to talk to others, just not him or Paulo. Stephen also thinks I need to talk and journal to address my trust issues. I trust that these 2 sessions of verbal jousting have cost Paulo and me $200, so I have agreed to the journaling. Then Stephen and I agreed to meet up again when I felt ready. There was a lecture in there about therapy only working if the person receiving the therapy was willing to participate. But I wasn't really paying that much attention because Stephen has one thing correct. I do have trust issues, and I do not trust him. I guess I will start with a little item that got me backed into my therapy corner to begin with. I broke a pitcher and bowl and then stomped all over the bits of pottery so they could never be repaired. It was an old-timey pitcher and bowl that people used to use when they didn't have running water. It was also my mother's. And it was in response to Paulo and I not getting along. Maybe Stephen was right about this journaling because as I'm typing this up already, it seems like a really big overreaction. Paulo and I rarely argue or fight or disagree, but this particular day had been one of those where every little thing that happened felt like a personal affront. Stephen explained that I was defensive. I don't feel that this is an accurate assessment, but whatever. Paulo's mom had called and they had talked for over an hour, during which time I was cooking and doing dishes so I could go walking with Kelly that afternoon. When he got off the phone, Paulo informed me that his mom wanted us to put Mimi in swimming lessons, and she had a friend who had a daughter that knew someone at our local rec center. She was going to see if we could get her in this summer and then let us know. Paulo's mom does not even live here. She doesn't even live in this country. It defies logic that she can actually set up swimming lessons for Mimi. But I was busy trying to get crap done so I could go walk. So I just said okay. At lunchtime, Paulo stated that the quinoa was a bit salty and not his favorite. I suggested he make lunch himself, and we finished our meal in silence. I started dishes immediately after eating, and he took Mimi to walk to the mail center and get our mail. When he returned, the dishes were done, and it was 2 p.m. I had an hour to spare before it would be time for me to go walk. I started load 1 of the laundry. As I was collecting laundry items from around the house, Paulo started loading the washing machine. This irritated me because this is not the part of laundry that one needs help with. Loading the machine is a one-person job. He informed me he was helping so we could leave. Leave? Where were we going? To meet the swimming instructor, of course. Now, he states all of this like he's amazed that I am so out of touch with what is going on. And this is the tipping point of my irritation. I have a goal. My goal is to walk with my friend and gossip about school on our day off. It has been the rainiest spring ever, and this is the first day since I can't remember that I have had a friend plan to do something outside and active. Also, on that Sunday, it was the Sunday before the last day of school, so there was a lot of gossiping and complaining that needed to happen. When I woke that morning, I had to jump the following hurdles to get to my goal: grocery shopping, cooking for the week, dishes, playing with my 2-year-old, letting my husband talk with his family, and laundry. I had done it all. I had made it to the goal. Now Paulo was adding to that list. Not fair. I reminded him I was walking with Kelly, and he reminded me that the world would not stop if I was a few minutes late and we had plenty of time to go meet this person. So we did, and she was nice, and most of the conversation took place in a language I don't understand and was about a bunch of people they knew and I did not. So I kept an eye on Mimi while they chatted for 40 minutes. At the end of the chat session, I found out that our new friend wasn't sure she could get Mimi in for lessons because the rec center was pretty booked for lessons for kids her age. But if there was an opening, she would give us a call. I wanted to point out how this was a colossal waste of time, and I could have called the rec center and had the same outcome. But Paulo is so kind, and he had an obligation to follow through with what his mother wanted. He did, and it was over, so why make him feel bad about it? When we got home, I was only running 20 minutes late, and I texted Kelly. She texted back that we needed to cancel because her daughter Peyton had just vomited all over and she was not feeling so great herself. If one could cancel your birthday, Christmas, and dessert for the rest of your life, it would come close to the disappointment I felt. Paulo suggested I go for a walk with him and Mimi since I was going to miss my walk with Kelly. It was very kind and sweet, but not what I needed. But we went for a small walk, and when we returned, I changed the laundry out. While I was doing this, Paulo received a text from his work asking if he could come in and help close. And he said yes. This meant that I would now be doing dinner, bath, Mimi's bedtime, and all the laundry solo. I was so angry. Not necessarily at him, just angry. I grabbed the next load of laundry, which unfortunately was towels we had piled in the bathroom, and furiously stomped toward the laundry area. In my stomping and towel carrying, I brushed the stand that held the antique pitcher and bowl, and of course, it fell over. The pitcher broke into primarily 5 large pieces, and the bowl was just chipped in several places. For the first time in my life, I completely lost my control. Thankfully, Mimi was having a nap. But then again, maybe if she had been up, I would have been able to rein myself in. I dropped the towels and stood for a minute just looking at the mess. Paulo gave a deep sigh and went to get the broom and dustpan. I'm pretty sure that sigh is what did it. I picked up a piece of the pitcher and then just let it drop to the ceramic tile floor. It shattered into a million smaller pieces. It was so goddamn satisfying that I picked up the bowl and did the same thing. Then I started stomping on any piece that looked large. In less than a couple of minutes, our foyer floor was covered in dirty towels and ceramic pottery dust. When I finally felt that every piece that could be destroyed had been, I realized I was sweating with the effort of pottery stomping and I was crying. Paulo was standing about 4 feet away, holding a broom and dustpan with his mouth hanging open. I guess I could have stopped at that point and explained a lot of things that were happening inside of me, but I didn't. I picked up the towels and took them to the washer and started the towel load. When I walked back through, Paulo had nearly cleaned all the pottery dust up. We silently finished the job together. He left for work, and I did all the crap that I have to do most nights, and that was that. Except it wasn't. The next day, Paulo told me we had to talk. and he told me that my stress level had been ramping up all school year, and after yesterday, he was very concerned. He felt I should talk to a professional. Now, he's not that guy. In fact, he typically feels that therapy is a waste of time and money. The sight of me in a pottery breaking frenzy must have scared him quite a bit. I love this man more than I can say, and he is my everything. Also, I have no idea what came over me. I do think it is stress related, and I also think it had something to do with having my outlet taken away. So if he wanted me to go to therapy, then I would and did. Now I'm journaling. Pretty sure neither Stephen nor Paula would believe me if I said that just going on summer vacation was the cure. June 1st, 2016. It's already been 2 weeks, and I have not done one thing on my summer to-do list. However, I don't even remember what I did for those 2 weeks. I think it involved watching Parks and Recs, snacking, sleeping, and most importantly, playing with Mimi. We go for a morning walk, a before lunch walk, and an after nap walk. And it only took me 2 weeks to completely ruin her napping alone routine. Paula was not thrilled with this, but I like sleeping with her at nap time. She lays there and talks to herself and me about objects around the room. Then she points at all of my parts and lists off their names: eyes, nose, ears, etc. Sometimes she baby babble reads a book or two to me. Then one of us nods off, and the next thing you know, it's time to get up and get ready for our walk. It's a good life. One that is so good, I can almost forget the epic argument that Paulo and I had. It was the end of the school year, and I was super stressed. He told me that this could no longer be an excuse for my irritability and general bad attitude. I disagree. But now that I no longer have that stressor, I feel no need to argue about root causes. Stephen said I should journal every day. Since I journaled so much on May 25th, I felt like I deserved a few days off. I don't feel I have any negative feelings to journal about, but I do need to make this a daily practice in case I do come up with a negative feeling or thought. June 22nd, 2016. Oops. So much for the daily journaling. But something big did come up. Mimi sang all of her ABCs and recognized letters in one of her baby cartoons. She pointed and said, "Mama, A." I'm pretty sure she's a genius. When I told my grandmother, she also agreed that Mimi was a genius. So I have confirmation. July 1st, 2016. I really mean to journal every day. I really do. I lie and tell Paulo I do. He tells me he thinks it has made a huge difference because I am much more relaxed. Today is our 6th anniversary. We had our first date 6 years ago today. He woke me up with kisses and hugs and told me 16 things he loved about me. Since the first 10 were all body parts, he felt there should be 6 non-body part things mentioned also, because he had lots of things he loved about me and did not want to make it seem as if he only loved my body. Then we had a morning snuggle. Since he didn't have to be at work until 4 p.m., we went to lunch downtown and walked around. When we got home, there was a package at our front door. He had bought me a pair of leggings and a sports bra that I had been coveting for a couple of months. I tried them on while he put Mimi down for a nap, and they looked amazing. I've lost 10 pounds since school let out. I'm so lucky to have Paulo. Who else has a husband/boyfriend who shops for them and gets it right? I can't list all the times he has purchased clothing for me, and not only does it fit, it looks great. It's a gift he has and uses to benefit me. We then had a nap snuggle. I'm now waiting for him to get home from work. One of the many things I adore about summer is that I can actually stay up late and see Paula when he gets home from work. July 15th. I really suck at this daily journaling thing. But here's something I don't suck at: my newfound ability to play pickleball. Paulo bought 2 paddles, and we've been playing early in the morning before it gets too hot. I love it. Mimi rides her trike around the court, and we play for about an hour each morning. We then all go home and eat fruit, bread, and oatmeal until we're stuffed. Once again, I am reminded of how much I love my life. I love it so much that Mimi and I wrote a story about it: The Girl Who Rode Her Trike. We made pictures and colored them to go along with the story. Tomorrow we're going to the petting zoo. Maybe we'll write our second story, The Girl Who Pet Some Animals. July 25th. It's strange how quickly things can go from lazy, contented summer things to abrasive, demanding school things. Anita called me yesterday. Of course, I did not answer. I'm not obligated to answer work-related things unless it is during my contract time. July is not part of that time. Her voicemail stated her call was just to touch base and see how my summer was going, and if I had a chance to try to check my email to see her back-to-school letter. My God, we didn't have to report to school until August 12th. It all seemed so far off and simultaneously so close. My mind began to race. I had not prepared anything for school this year. No checking of class lists, no summer planning, although it was on my summer to-do list, no prep on first day's activities. And deep within me, an anger that I hadn't felt in weeks was awakened. A pottery smashing type of anger that is resentful and bitter and wants to lash out. Perhaps there is a correlation between work, stress, and negative feelings that I struggle to control. I think I will save this journaling thing for the school year because I think that is when I will really need it, and I want to enjoy my remaining days of time with my family and the joy and peace that brings me. I'm not ready to feel all the teacher frustration yet. I'm just not ready. Yes, I definitely want to work on the journaling when I actually need it. And I'm not checking my email, reading Anita's letter, or doing anything else until I have to. I'm taking every moment between now and August 12th that I can for me. August 1st, 2016. Stephen and I had our parting session. He agrees with me that the journaling is probably more necessary during the school year. He suggests I start when I feel my stress starting. I can't believe he gets paid what he gets paid to come up with these brilliant suggestions. Maybe I shouldn't be too hard on him, because he also suggested I have a hobby, something that is just for me. Since I do enjoy writing, the non-journaling type, he came up with the idea to combine the two, write my journal like I would a story. So I'll try that. I'll